We both called the cops, and the cops went by there. We told him that if he was not out by midnight, he would be arrested. What's up guys, it's Ryan. I wanted to come at you today with a video about the craziest real estate deal, probably one of the craziest deals I've ever done, and one of the most lucrative I've ever done, and the most complex I've ever done thus far in my real estate career, my real estate side hustle that I've been working on over the past year, wholesaling and flipping real estate. So this deal, I'll give you the address right off the get-go. It was 1570 Temple Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. This deal was a wholesale deal. We got under contract. Basically, the seller did not live there. It was occupied by the seller's family member, the seller's brother, who was living in the property, not paying rent. Just kind of freeloading off the seller, and she was ready to sell it and move on and be done with it. It needed a lot of work. He trashed the place. So we came in with the solution that we could get it under contract, purchase it from her, liquidate the property, get rid of her problem, and flip it. So we ended up getting this property under contract originally for $97,000. And this was sight unseen, before going in it, before anything. I've got the comps pulled up here. I'll show you my PropStream account. We're looking at MLS comps, and then I'll just kind of draw a little barrier here of the major crossroads to get the neighborhood. We're looking at Virginia Avenue, and then this like loop around the airport. If it'll, come on. Oh, there we go. Right about there. So this little triangle is probably our best search area for comps. And then we'll just go MLS date range, March, call it, well, we got the property under contract in February. So I'll do Valentine's Day, 19 to current. So average sales price, $270. That doesn't really mean anything. If we're looking at properties close by, there was a property, Temple, sold 66 days on market for $240, so that's good. That was a 3.2 though, a lot bigger than ours, is a 2.1. So more or less what I think we came to conclusion on, I forget the best comps we had, but it was like $200,000 was the ARV here. And so we got it under contract for $97, thinking we could flip it for a $108, I think was what we were marketing it to investors for a $10,000 spread, more or less. And then we were thinking maybe 30 grand in rehab. They'd be in at 150 plus holding costs 160, sell it for 200. Anyway, more or less, we got into the property, we went through it. It needed a lot more work than we thought it did. I'll show you the most recent pictures right here and put those up for you. I'll show you the inside of this thing after it was eventually vacated. But we had buyers walk through it, and they were coming back with offers in the 70s and 80s, and we had it at 97. So that wasn't gonna work. So we ended up taking a Hail Mary, and we price dropped the seller. We came to her with a price proposition of $50,000 for the property. She ended up agreeing with us on $60,000. So we price dropped it from the get-go, 37 grand down to 60. So that's great. So now we have a spread in it. We ended up having two serious parties interested in purchasing the property from us, one at 80 and one at 82.5. The guy at 82.5 was the highest. And I had kind of the most confidence with this guy because he was recommended by someone I trust. So I felt like this guy was going to do the deal. He already committed to another deal of ours. So 82.5. So that's 22.5 to us, $22,500. So boom, big play, right? But there was a little bit different kind of stuff going on in this deal than our normal deals. Normally we just assign with our assignment contract and we get a assignment fee. For this deal, he was required by his brokerage as a realtor, because he has his real estate license, to use a Georgia real estate contract, which I've never done before, but we made it work. So we ended up double closing on this deal using a Georgia real estate contract with pretty much all the same contingencies as my contract, but it was a double close. Never done a double close before. but we did it. Basically, all that means is we close on the property and then he closes on the property the next day, and basically we buy it and then the same day he buys it from us, but we have to pay closing costs. So it was going to be a little less than 82.5, but still more than the 80. And the double close worked better too in this situation because I didn't want the seller to know that we were flipping this thing for a $20,000 profit after we price dropped her $37,000, and see like a $20,000 assignment fee on the HUD statement if you are familiar with real estate. So I was like, yeah, let's keep this hush hush, and to the buyer side as well. I don't think he knows or knew what we made on the deal. So anyway, double close, first experience with that. And also what was tricky about this double close is normally in a double close, there's a pass through of funds, meaning if the buyer, my buyer, buys it from me, we can use his funds to buy the property. So we don't actually have to buy the property. So I don't have to give $60,000 to the seller and say, here's 60 grand, buy it, and then sell it for the 80. But in this case, based on our closing attorney, we did have to get funds because with his Georgia real estate contract and his hard money lender, they were not willing to accept a pass-through of funds. So we had to get a hard money loan. So I got a transactional funding loan. So a little bit more cost to me again, but now I have a relationship with a hard money lender, a great guy who was recommended to me, and I had to pay about $1,000 in interest to make the transaction work. So I paid him $1,000 to borrow 60 grand to buy the property and then flip it for the 82.5, paid $1,061 in closing costs. So all in, I spent about $2,000. And then I made just over 20, about 20,500 bucks roughly on the deal. So transactional funding, double close, never done that before. And $37,000 price drop in this wholesale deal. But then it gets even more crazy because at the day of closing, we find out that literally at the closing table that the seller's brother, this family member, has not vacated the property. My buyer goes by the property in the morning and calls me and says, hey, there's somebody still in there. What's going on? We agreed that this property would be vacant when we bought it from you. So now my seller is going to the closing table. I have funds already put up to buy the deal. And at the closing table, I'm calling a million people, calling the seller, calling the seller's brother who lives there. I'm talking to my money lender. I'm talking to his money lender, talking to him, trying to figure out what's going on here, why this guy hasn't left yet. Meanwhile, the coronavirus stuff is going on. There could possibly be an eviction, but evictions are postponed till after April. So this is a mess. And more or less, we come to what's called a escrow agreement, to where this guy has to be out of the property by the following Sunday night at midnight, has to be out by Sunday at midnight, or the seller will forfeit $10,000 of her funds. So all of her funds, my 60 grand that is supposed to go to her, she signed that day, closed. I closed remotely with a mobile notary from Arizona. I'm not even in Georgia. So her funds are held in escrow and she cannot get the money until the guy vacates. And then if he doesn't vacate by a certain time, Sunday at midnight, she loses $10,000. So that's when I'll roll this clip as it's going down and show you how we did this with a pizza delivery guy. So it's currently 7:35 p.m. in Phoenix and it's 10:35 p.m. in Atlanta. So I bought a house in Atlanta, Georgia last week, and I'm double closing on it with another buyer on Monday. So I have transactional funds, a hard money loan. I actually purchased this house. I have the title, but the seller that I bought it from, her funds are held until her brother who lives there is out, because he was supposed to vacate before we bought the property. He didn't. So he has until tonight at midnight Eastern time to be out of the house. Otherwise, the seller does not get her proceeds. It's still held until he vacates. And if he doesn't vacate by midnight tonight, I get $10,000. She loses $10,000 if he's not out by midnight tonight. So I'm in Arizona. What I did is I sent a pizza delivery guy because my partner in Atlanta, apparently this guy's kind of violent. He has a gun and he's not, it's crazy. So I sent a pizza guy, delivered a pizza to his house. And if this pizza guy shows up and delivers the pizza successfully, then it's not good because I'm supposed to sell the house tomorrow to make $22,000. And my buyer needs it vacant. So he's on his way. And if this pizza guy, there's no way that'll focus, will it? Oh my goodness. Uber Eats.
Right.
If this pizza guy goes there and he says, hey, no one's there, then that's great news for me because it just means that I'm gonna make 20 grand tomorrow, baby. But if this pizza guy delivers the pizza, no bueno. So no delivery, no problem. Delivery, bad problem. It is currently 10:49 p.m. We have our Uber Eats driver delivering pizza to 1570 Temple Avenue. The tenant should be out by midnight. And hopefully this guy sends me a text and says, hey, there's nobody here. So hopefully that's the case. We'll see what Christopher in the red Taurus has to say. Update! Pizza delivery man delivered pizza to the guy that was supposed to be out. He was still in there. No bueno. So I called the owner, previous owner. I own the house now. I talked to the seller. I said, hey, you gotta get your homeboy out of there. What's the deal? We both called the cops and the cops went by there. We told him that if he was not out by midnight, he would be arrested. And according to the police and according to the previous owner, he is out of the house. And according to him, he is out of the house. He's in Forsyth County, apparently. So great. He's out of the house. The cops should call me back with a final confirmation, but they said the property is secure and there's nobody there. Ryan 1, other guy 0. So as you guys can see, wholesaling real estate comes with its own very unique challenges. Not every deal is fluid. And at this point, I've closed 6 deals successfully and I have another 7 under contract. And no deal that I've closed has ever been easy. There's always been crazy stuff going on. So the concept sounds easy, but there's a lot of different learning challenges. But it was really cool to be able to use transactional funds to do a double close instead of an assignment and just learn different things about real estate that I had no idea. This escrow agreement, doing that with the seller, withholding funds. So the more problems you face, the more you learn. It's a crazy world, but I was able to, fortunately, thank God, make about $20,000 on this deal after all the weird situations and weird hiccups that we faced. The potential shutdown of closing attorneys due to the coronavirus, potentially this guy not vacating the property and the buyer backing out, the cops getting involved to make sure this guy was gone, holding funds up, maybe even I had to take the property because I closed on it and my guy backs out and I have to sell it to somebody else or put it on the market. I'm stuck with the property. So different challenges, but hope you guys learned something from this deal. Hope you guys enjoyed this content, me highlighting and giving an actual address and showing you what went into this deal. So if you guys are interested in more real estate content, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Soar to your full potential. Stay safe and healthy out there, and God bless. Peace.